This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you an exclusive interview with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. The interviewer is Shubhashri Mahapatra, Akashvani correspondent.
India's foreign policy for several years after independence was defined by non-alignment. In the post-Cold War era, economic liberalization reformed the foreign policy priorities to a large extent. The next change is now happening under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The last 9 years of the current government has many achievements to its credit. Today, we have External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar with us in our studio. Welcome, sir, to Akashvani.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Sir, at the outset, I would like to request you to tell us the major changes made in the Indian foreign policy in the last decade.
Well, I think that's a good place to begin. And you referred to the fact that we associate foreign policy at the beginning with non-alignment. So what was non-alignment? Non-alignment was a country expressing its independence in a particular era. So we are talking 1940s, 50s, 60s, maybe a little bit more, maybe 70s. But it was an era where our own capabilities was limited, and also where we did not always put our national interest first. So sometimes maybe we did not get the gains and the benefits we could have, but that is in the past. Now, thereafter, what happened was we faced a big challenge in the 1990s. As you yourself said, this was a time of reform. It was a time of reform because the economic policies from the 1940s till 1990 did not succeed. So we had a crisis. So we now had to not only change our economic policy, we had to change our foreign policy, because economic policy and foreign policy go together. Now today what has happened is we are in a different era. It is an era, one, where we are more capable, we are more confident, we are more ambitious, we think we can make a big difference. We are today the number 5 country economically in the world. And it is also a time which is more globalized, which is more technology driven. So the challenges are different, the capabilities are different, the goals are different. And under Prime Minister Narendra Modi today, because he himself today has a good understanding of the world, he has great faith in the people of India, especially the youth of India. He has a strong sense of technology, and he believes that we can take full advantage of global opportunities. So we are today much more active, much more visible. We are shaping the big issues and ideas of our time. And we are nationalistic and international at the same time. That we are doing more with the world, but we always do so with India's interest at the core. Not like in the past, where often we sacrificed India's interest, or we put India's interest behind the interest of some other country because of some ideological reason.
Sir, my second question is, India will be hosting the G20 Leaders Summit for the first time on 9th and 10th September 2023. In the previous G20 Leaders Summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been laying emphasis on green development, climate finance, lifestyle for the environment as India's priorities. The New Delhi G20 Leaders Summit also comes at a time when the big powers are divided over the war in Ukraine. How much will that impact the summit's final outcome? And what will be India's key deliverables at the summit?
See, there are two big divides that the G20 has to address. One you mentioned, which is, you can say, the East-West divide because of the Ukraine conflict. But there is a bigger divide, the North-South divide. Divide of development, divide of growth, divide of health, of education, even of climate action. So India today is, I would say, somewhere in a center. We have to find a solution for North-South, we have to find a solution for East-West, both of them. That is a big responsibility. And it is a responsibility. By being the presidency of the G20, we have taken it upon ourselves. Our focus today is to get the world and the G20 to concentrate on the right problems. And that is why, in preparation for the G20, Prime Minister actually held a summit virtually called the Voice of Global South. So we had almost 125 countries who participated at different levels in the summit. And from their concerns, these are all developing countries, and their concerns of the developing countries, we tried today to put these forward to see, for example, there is a concern. Developing countries have to reach sustainable development goals. Sustainable development goals for normal, ordinary people, I should say, would be health, education, water, electricity, sanitation, what is a proper, decent living. Now, many countries today, because of economic pressure, economic stress, they are not able to continue their progress on sustainable development goals. There's a second issue, which is climate. So everybody accepts climate is a very big issue. But to deal with climate, you need resources. Now, the developed countries keep promising resources, but they don't actually deliver on their promise very often. So how do we today get green financing? Because the people who will be most impacted by climate will be developing countries. So that is also today a big issue. So I'm giving you two examples. But there is an issue of debt. Many, very large number of countries today, they have big debts. They cannot pay back their debts. Many of them are facing trade disruption. Countries are facing, that they cannot pay for their energy. Many of them have problems with food imports. So these are really important problems. And India has taken it upon itself to make these problems the center of the conversation. That is one part, what is happening inside the room. There is the other part. And the other part is the manner in which Prime Minister today feels the people should be involved with G20. Even in Akashvani Bhavan, I see today a G20 logo, G20 poster. You go anywhere in India, every city of India, any public space in India, people today have attached themselves to G20. They know this is something big. They know this is an opportunity for India to make its global presence felt. It's also a way of promoting all the regions and cities of India.
Showcasing our team.
Yes, because we could have done G20 in, say, 5 big cities. But we are doing 60 cities. Yes. We are doing all the states and union territories. So the whole idea is showcase India. Also make the Indian public understand, why is this important for you? Why is foreign policy important for you? Not only G20. What can we do to contribute more? So this is what he calls Jan Bhagidari. जनता को इसके साथ जुड़ना चाहिए. वो प्रधानमंत्री की बार बार वो दोहराते हैं कि ये जो आप G20 में जो कर रहे हैं, इसको आप मीटिंग, कॉन्फ्रेंस सरकारी तौर पर ना करें, लोगों तक पहुंचे और लोगों को जुड़ने का अवसर दें. And I have been now in diplomacy from 1977, so it is 46 years I'm doing. I have never seen anything like this in the past. That the normal citizen says, अच्छा वो फॉरेन पॉलिसी पता नहीं कोई और करता है, दूर की बात है, दूर का आदमी है, मेरा क्या लेना देना. This time it is not like that.
Sir, during its G20 presidency, India has focused on the area that have potential to bring structural transformation, like integration of MSMEs to global trade, promotion of labor rights, building inclusive agricultural food chains, value system, and blue economy. So, what is the thought or rationale behind these focus areas?
To understand this, you have to follow a little bit of history of G20. Initially, G20 started because there was a global financial crisis. At that time, till 2008, 7 countries, they were called G7. They used to deal with global financial matters. But they realized now global economy has grown, more countries need to be brought in, big solutions are not possible without them. Then every year when they meet, they add something more. So today we have almost, I think, 15 ministerial streams. So finance is the most important. But for example, I chair the development stream. There's a labor one, there's an education one, there's a women. So it's all this issue. So what are we trying to do? We are trying to look at different areas and try to see if we G20 agree in any area. You said MSME or say labor. If there is a G20 agreement on that, I would say energy, very, very big subject of discussion. One, it will feed into the total G20 solution. So, जब वो leader लोग आएंगे सितंबर में और उनकी जब सहमति बनेगी, in that full agreement, इसका भी एक पहलू होगा. But it is also you must understand there is life beyond G20. So I mentioned to you, for example, Sustainable Development Goals. अब SDG इसको कहते हैं. अब SDG की एक summit होने वाली है सितंबर में. Now, if G20 agrees on things on SDG, it has an impact on SDG when the main meeting takes place. If G20 agrees on, say, women-led development, it has an impact. There will be COP28 in climate action. It will be meeting in UAE. What we decide in G20 in respect of climate, that will directly feed into what will happen at the COP. So one part is you're working in G20, you're pulling in different activities, उसका आप एक निचोड़ बनाएंगे, वो निचोड़ जो है that will, वो G20 के नेता जो होंगे, उनकी सर्वसम्मति से इसको हम दुनिया के सामने प्रस्तुत करेंगे. परंतु जो G20 की अलग अलग उनके आइडियाज जो हैं, भावनाएं जो हैं, उनकी उपलब्धियां जो हैं, वो अपने अपने डोमेन में कुछ और भी अगर दुनिया में कुछ हो रहा है, उस पर भी इसका प्रभाव होगा. G20 को आप एक किस्म से एक साल का कार्यक्रम के परिप्रेक्ष्य न देखें. जो भी इसकी अध्यक्षता लेता है, उनकी बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी होती है. और ये जिम्मेदारी जो है, ये एक साल के लिए नहीं, क्योंकि G20 फंक्शंस इन 3. आप आने वाले प्रेसिडेंट हैं, अभी के प्रेसिडेंट हैं, पिछले प्रेसिडेंट, तीन ट्रॉयका कहते हैं. तो आप इसको 3 साल के लिए एक किस्म से गाइड कर सकते हैं. और हमारी खुशकिस्मती है कि आगे वाला जो प्रेसिडेंट है वो ब्राजील है. So that is also very, very helpful to us because we are, with BRICS and IPSA, we are linked with them. This whole G20, one is जो देश में जो हो रहा है, जिस तरीके से हम कहते हैं ना that we should make India world ready, you have to make world India ready. People from the world should see 60 cities at least of India, minimum. People from India should see all these people from G20 because there are 20 countries, there are 9 guests. There are 14 international organizations, but we are calling many other delegates also. So ultimately, you will get almost 100 countries who will come.
Neighborhood First has been a focus area of your ministry. It is said that there have been more deliveries on the ground in terms of concrete projects in the neighboring countries than ever in the past. Could you elaborate the nature of expansion that has happened?
See, what you are saying, first of all, is true. That if you look any of our neighbors, Nepal jaye, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Maldives, even Myanmar, there is a big improvement in our delivery. There is improvement of delivery at home in India. So if in Delhi or Kolkata or in Uttar Pradesh or Madhya Pradesh or Tamil Nadu, if today your road building is better, your metro building is better, so if you are giving that kind of attention and effort and resources to make things happen better in India, it is natural that it will happen beyond India. Prime Minister himself has a evaluation program. It's called Pragati. He started it very early, 2014. What happens in Pragati is he selects a list of 20 projects. Those 20 projects, all the people involved with those 20 projects, they have to be on video link. Yes. And he says, okay, please explain to me, ye kyun aage nahi badha? The moment you do this kind of coordination and then सबको लगता है अरे प्राइम मिनिस्टर खुद कर रहे हैं. इम्पैक्ट नाउ दिस माइंडसेट हम लोग भी विदेश मंत्रालय में करने लगे. अब जैसे मैं खुद रेगुलरली आई वुड से अच्छा चलिए बांग्लादेश, लेट अस सिट डाउन वन सैटरडे एंड जो भी बांग्लादेश के पेंडिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं प्लीज टेल मी वेयर आर वी. देन नेक्स्ट मंथ आई वुड से ओके लेट अस सिट नेपाल के देखते हैं. सो वन वे इज दिस ऑल्सो. द थर्ड इज नेबरहुड फर्स्ट पॉलिसी इटसेल्फ. What is neighborhood first policy? ये देश जो है हमारे पड़ोसी हैं. Now India is growing. Suppose in your street you are doing well in your house. Yes. You also want the rest of the street to also be
happy at least.
Should be happy and should actually enjoy benefits of your success. So today it is important for us that our neighbors feel, oh, very good for us. India is growing. We are also getting the benefit.
Thank you, sir, for talking to Akashvani News.
Thank you. It was a great pleasure.
You were listening to an exclusive interview with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. The interviewer was Shubhashri Mahapatra, Akashvani correspondent. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on a mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsdtalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 9289094044.